Well, first, thank you all for being here. It's great to have you. And today I want to talk about a topic that I think is really important, and that topic is acceptance. Acceptance is ingrained in our need for human connection. And by the end of this talk, I think hopefully you'll understand what acceptance is, the power of acceptance, and how we can really start to embrace it so that it can start to transform not only our personal lives but also our business lives as well. But first, I want to share a bit of a personal story. Okay, so growing up, creativity was integral to my life. Whether I was painting watercolour pictures or playing with Lego with my friends, I loved being creative and I found joy in being creative. But however, there was a particular moment in my childhood that made me realise the power of acceptance and its impact on individuals and communities. I remember being at school and I'd been given a letter to take home. It wasn't that kind of letter. I wasn't in any trouble or anything like that. The letter was asking for parents to contribute. So often the school would do fundraisers, so they were always asking for money. It became a bit of a running joke, actually. The school's asking for money again. But for me, asking my mum for money wasn't an easy option. She didn't have much to spare, and I didn't really want to burden her with yet another request. So that's when I got an idea. And I decided to start a school magazine. So I asked my friends to help out, and together we created this magazine. I took charge of the front page, of course. My friends did various other sections. We had a jokes page in there, colouring in page, word searches, and we even managed to convince the teachers to let us do this in lesson time. And they gave us permission to use a photocopier as well and print out the copies. So we went around into the playground with our photocopies in hand and basically sold them to all of the parents in the playground for 25p each. So that day I created a buzz. You could really feel it in the playground. You could feel the energy. There was happiness and energy, and it was infectious, and seeing everyone come together and get excited about this thing that we'd created felt really, really good. My friends were working with me. They were really happy to be a part of it. And we worked hard putting this magazine together. It was really easy to get the parents on board as well. They felt like they were not just giving money away. They felt like they were contributing to something that, we worked really, really hard on. And that's what I realised today, is that that's really what I do now. That particular day, we created a space that allowed for collaboration and acceptance. And that's what I do today. I realised today that's the same way I help clients, other people, the same way I help my school raise that money. By creating something authentic, something that people believed in, we were able to engage the parents. And for me, that was a really beautiful example of acceptance in action, because we created that platform where we could all come together, work together and create something. And so as I work with clients today in brand strategy, I'm helping them in the same way, using creativity and collaboration skills to create something authentic and meaningful. So for me, it's all about crafting brands that embody that unique identity. It's all about attracting audiences that accept you. And in essence, that journey from that school magazine has fueled my desire to foster acceptance and create really positive experiences. So there's a quote here by Deepak Chopra, if I can get it right. Acceptance is beautiful and it's a transformative act. It's about embracing and valuing others for who they truly are, creating a safe space where people can feel like they can actually be their authentic selves. You know, think about the times where you felt like you were truly accepted by someone, by, a company, friends, family. Being accepted, and where you're able to do that and you're able to be vulnerable and be yourself without judgment is really important. And I think it's in these moments that we experience a deep sense of belonging and connection. So I want to talk about a couple of brands that I think have really challenged the status quo and have been accepted in big ways. One of them is Apple. So from its early days, Apple stood out. It challenged the status quo. It defied conventional norms, and it was all about thinking differently. So Apple's brand identity was built on this idea of empowering individuals and helping them to really enhance their lives through innovative technology. But what Apple have done really is they've unapologetically been themselves. They disrupted an industry and they showed up with their core values at the middle. They've created a distinct identity that's really resonated with people. And those people sought creativity and simplicity. Another brand that I think has really been accepted is Nike. You know, they're recognised as a real powerhouse in the sports and athletic apparel industry. And central to Nike's brand philosophy is this idea of embracing the spirit of athletes and empowering them to really push themselves beyond limits. You know, they use this tagline, just do it. Nike understands that their customers aren't just buying their products, they're buying into a lifestyle and aspirational identity. So they've cultivated this tribe of passionate followers that accept them for who they are through their inspiring message of just do it. So what are the benefits of acceptance? But first, I mean, you might be wondering why I'm standing here speaking about the importance of acceptance in branding. Well, let me just share a little bit about myself. So I work with brand strategy, and it wasn't always something that I knew a lot about. But what I realise now is by helping businesses discover their unique value, the thing that makes them different, the thing that makes them unique, through that, I've witnessed the power of acceptance firsthand. Once you start to dive into who you truly are and what makes you different, what makes you unique, and you celebrate that, that's when you then attract like-minded people that become your tribe and want to support you. When brands authentically accept and embrace their uniqueness, they create this powerful emotional connection. Acceptance basically breeds loyalty, and it transforms customers into brand advocates who passionately share their positive experiences, but then they'll actively go on to support the brand as well. When people feel accepted by a brand, they become loyal ambassadors. And this loyalty born out of acceptance is what drives growth. You know, whether you're an entrepreneur or a solo business owner, that's the power of acceptance, and those are the benefits. By attracting the right audience, brands can foster long-term relationships, increase customer retention, generate sustainable business growth. But it's all about creating this community ultimately. People want to feel accepted. We all want to feel accepted. We all want to feel like we belong. And we all wear or associate ourselves with particular brands because of the emotional associations that we have with them. Whether that's, you know, putting on a particular top because you feel more confident, or putting on your Nike trainers when you're going out for a run because you know that they're not going to let you down, you know they're good quality. You know, we associate ourselves with brands that ultimately help us to kind of be the best versions of ourselves. So how do you start to look at acceptance? Well, first, I think it starts with self-reflection. So taking the time to understand your authenticity and your unique qualities. Everyone else is taken, right? So why not just be yourself? And also in business, it's all about identifying your ideal audience as well. Those who genuinely accept and resonate with you and your brand or your brand personal identity. I think it's also about crafting an authentic brand message. So having a brand message that reflects your values and resonates with your target audience is also really important. And it helps you to target the right people. And then as well, I think, if anything, this one's probably one of the most important, this idea of nurturing a community. So building a supportive community around your brand or personal identity to foster acceptance and belonging. So whether we like it or not, we all have a brand. You know, what do people say about you when you're not in the room? Well, you might not want to know, but you know, to some extent you can craft that and you can change what people say and what people think about you. But I think first it starts with being aware of that and just accepting who you are as a person. I think often, especially as creatives, we can be a little bit weird, a little bit eccentric. But those things aren't, and those, we're all creatives, right? It's Creative Mornings. Everyone's creative. But those things, and I think as we grow and get older, we're sometimes told that to dumb those things down, to not let them shine. As you go through life, you know, there'll be certain points where you might feel like your voice has been taken away. You know, maybe you were singing out loud and someone told you to be quiet. Maybe you were wearing something that you really, really loved and someone commented on it. And all those things kind of stop you from being your authentic self. And I think once you start to accept who you really are and go, actually, this is who I am, I'm proud of it, that's your power and that's your difference. And the more you show that, the more people will gravitate towards it. So really, that's what I kind of want to conclude on. It's all about using your power. The power of acceptance cannot be underestimated. It's a force that can transform your personal lives as well as business. And by seeking acceptance and embracing our authenticity, we can attract the right people, the ones who genuinely accept us for who we are. We know how good when that happens. We know how good we feel when that happens. And in the realm of branding as well, it's not about being everything to everyone. It's about finding your tribe, the people who will truly accept you for who you are. So I think we should embrace our uniqueness, embrace our authenticity, and accept who we are. If you want any more inspiration or you want to hear any other stories about other people that have learned to accept who they are and took that to another level, I do have a podcast which is called Build Better Brands, and it's to inspire business owners like yourselves. So I interview normal people, everyday people that have built businesses and seen them grow. Some of these have come from difficult situations where there's been a lesson in the struggle, and it's all about this theme that, yes, Nike is huge, Apple is huge, but you don't have to be a massive brand to start to think about brand and think about what makes you unique, and how accepting that can really gravitate the right sorts of people to you. So it's called Build Better Brands. I'd love feedback, so if you do have a listen, let me know what you think. But that is me, Danielle Clarke. Thank you very much for listening.
How important is it that what you put out as a business brand matches the person who turns up on the doorstep?
I think it's really important to be honest. Something I talk about is honesty and integrity, and you know, if you know that you're someone that's maybe a little bit disorganised, I think that's okay. I think people appreciate it when you're aware of things that maybe might come across as a little bit negative, but none of us are perfect. And I think if you were then to turn up and the person that you see, because this has happened where I feel like I've got to know someone through Instagram, and then I've met them and I'm like, okay, they're a totally different person. And it's been a shock. But then other people that have accepted who they are, their loudness or their quirkiness or whatever, and then you meet them and you're like, oh yeah, actually you're who you say you are online, and then it builds that trust. And I think it's important. Yeah, I think so. And I think we can, especially with social media, I think we forget about what it is actually for. It's about taking this and interacting with people. Like, I wouldn't come here and try and pretend to be someone or something I'm not while I'm here. So why would you do it online? It's about taking that social aspect and putting it in a digital place. But, you know, if you're using it well, you should still try and be the same. Accept who you are.
Thank you. Danielle, can you tell us a little more about your podcast, please? Where to find it, what kind of topics you cover, and how?
Yeah, thanks for asking. So the podcast is wherever you listen to podcasts. So it's on Apple, Spotify, Google. It's called Build Better Brands. And I started the podcast because I've got lots of friends and colleagues and associates that either they've got this thing that they want to start. I think everyone's got it in them. They talk about this, I want to start a yoga. I love yoga. I want to start a yoga studio or coffee shop or whatever. And I've got people that I know that have started brands, and they always say, I don't know where to start. And so I thought, well, if I just speak to everyone that I know that has started a business and share their story, then hopefully it will inspire other people that want to do that to go, oh, okay, that's how they started. Maybe I could start there then. I think often it can be quite scary starting. I think everyone's got a dream or something that they want to do. But when you hear someone else's story, often it resonates. And then if you see yourself, you feel like if they've got a similar story to you, or maybe they're from somewhere that you were from, you can relate to it, and then you feel like that you can do it too. I think, yeah, if nothing else, I want to help people start that thing before it's too late, because why not, right? Thanks for the question.
Well, I was going to ask you about having a mascot or an emblem, or not particularly a logo as such, but the most successful brands in the world have all got something that is directly visually. So what would you say is more important, the statement on your own brand? So if you think of the top 10 brands worldwide, if you think of a certain thing, so like the meerkat, we all know, and how important is that to link to your brand? And do you think that you can do that from a very early stage? Because you tend to not see that in small businesses.
Okay.
Could that be quite important that you take that on the journey with you, that you've got something that directly links?
Okay, so you're talking about mascots in particular?
Mascots and colours. Your thoughts?
Yeah, it takes time. Like branding isn't a short term; it's a long game, and you know, brands like Nike. And I know I use them as examples, but you know that's happened over decades. I think what you're talking about is brand identity. So the visuals.
Would it be brought in from you were talking about saying a friend that's started a yoga
Yeah.
studio, for instance, and would it bring the brand identity from day one?
That tends to be the thing that small business owners focus on from day one, is the identity, the look, the feel, the logo, because they're the tangible elements that they get excited about. But the thing a lot of people miss is the strategy.
Yeah.
It's figuring out, well, who are you? What do you do? How does it make someone thrive and survive? How do I get it? And why should I give about it?
Yeah, I think that's what I was trying to say, is it who that brand identity identifies with,
Yeah.
as important as you being authentic as you, as such. So you're drawn to that identity.
Yeah.
That naturally drawing your customer in.
Yeah, it should do.
So what you think is your brand identity might not be your audience's identity.
No. And I think a lot of people make assumptions on what that is. And when you've built something up that's personal to you, you can become quite attached to it. So like I've worked with clients that they've started a business, they've been in it for 2 years, and this is their baby, right? Their favourite, like my favourite colours, you know, are like pink and purple, and maybe their favourite colours, you know, bright pink, and they don't want to let it go. But then when we do strategy and we look at their, you know, how they're positioning themselves, their target audience and all that sort of thing, that then moulds then what their brand identity should start to look like. Like the two should connect. You know, if your main target audience was female, you know, you're probably not going to use colours like red and black, and you know, they're not often colours that are associated with what women like. You know, that's me being super broad and super general. You know, if your target audience was older, you probably wouldn't use, you know, you wouldn't use slang language or really modern colours that, you know, were really bright, and you'd probably go for something more traditional. Again, I'm being super general, but when you do strategy and you figure out who you are and what you stand for, that then informs what you should look like, be that having, you know, what your logo should be, your colours, your fonts, all that sort of thing. And that's where I think often, it's very common, small business owners go wrong, because they focus on that bit first and then they forget the strategy. I say to them, like, your brand isn't, as a business, it's not really for you, it's for your community, it's for your tribe. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was just more about how you relate a mascot type or image.
Yeah, I think that all comes through, you know, brand associations. So as you build out a brand, you start to have different elements. You might decide that you want a mascot. You might decide that there's a particular pattern that you're going to derive from the main kind of mark that you create at the start. They become your brand assets, basically. And as your brand grows, depending on where you want to be, whether it's online, offline, wherever, if it's appropriate based on your strategy, then you know you can create these things. This lady here.
Where I'm at is that my brand is me, and it's a business-to-business service. And what I've found helpful in creating that brand is just going right back to what my purpose is and what my values are, and hopefully attracting people that have those values too. And that's, I mean, it's quite a scary thing to sort of put out there that this is what I believe in, and I'm looking to other people that believe in the same thing. But actually, I think it's accepting those things that I believe in and what drives me, and it enables me then to say no to things as well as yes to things. And I think that acceptance of I will do that because it absolutely gets me up in the morning and makes me work till whatever time at night. And actually I won't do that because really that doesn't float my boat and I'll leave it right till the last minute to do it. So I just think it's that acceptance that you're talking about and being authentic is really important when you're doing when you're the business service.
Yeah, it really, really is, and it's not an easy thing to do as well, to be to accept who you are and be self-aware. It's really, I think it can be really hard to self-analyse and to an extent be self-critical and be conscious of what we're good at but maybe what we're not so good at. But I think as soon as you start to do that, which it sounds like you have done, then you know what you stand for, you know what your values are, and then it helps you make decisions then in your business. You know if someone comes along and they're not aligned with a particular value that's really important to you, actually, is this going to be a really good working relationship? Probably not. So maybe they're not the right person for me, and that's what I say when it comes to you finding your tribe, your community, the people that accept you for who you are. It just makes everything easier. So I'm really glad that you've been able to do that and it's working for you. Thank you for the question. We had,
in cultivating acceptance, there's obviously also the reality of rejection as well. So in terms of being our authentic and true selves, what's the place of compromise, would you say, to that?
Place of compromise. Can you give me an example?
Not really.
No.
I'm thinking really pragmatically.
Yeah.
You know, wanting to grow your business, wanting to earn money.
Yeah, sure.
When something comes along that doesn't quite fit with who you are,
got you.
is there a place for compromise there? Is it like, you know, would you say it's like, this is me, this is my authentic self, anything that doesn't fit with that, I don't want to go with?
Yeah, I think it's a difficult question. It really depends, because nothing's ever black and white, is it? And at the end of the day, for business owners, or we work for businesses, and the reality is that, you know, we've got bills to pay and we need to survive, right? But actually, I had a conversation recently with a client. We were talking about values and stuff like that, and this business turned down oh, it's all right. Everyone's still awake, everyone up. Cheers. Turned down working with someone because basically, without going into too much detail, the product that they were going to create for them was going to be used down the line potentially in something that could end up actually harming people. And for them, they said they never want to be in a position where something they've made has indirectly hurt someone. You know, they really care about people, and looking after people is really important to them. And this was like a really big, you know, a big order for them, but it was just so against what they believed in that they said no. I think it's a difficult question, but I think it comes down to the individual and just being honest with yourself. You know, I've had it myself where, like a client, I was talking about it recently, a client asked me to work on like a presentation deck for them, and it was an absolute mess. And I could have easily have just done it because it was what they asked for and just got the money. But I said to them, no, you need to do this and this isn't right. It would have been really easy for me to just say yeah and go, yeah, I'll work with them and I'll go. But because integrity and honesty are values that I really, really care about, I couldn't do it because I knew it wasn't right for them. So I think it all comes down to, you know, having values, but actually like backing them up and going, actually, if I'm going to say integrity and honesty is my value, then I'm going to try and live and stand by it as much as possible. I know that's hard, but I think it's important.
It's probably a really basic question, but
it's fine.
You know, brands, is the one that you think is who's like really out there and you sort of benchmark and think, oh yeah, they've got everything right. Sometimes you look and think, oh, how clever somebody is, or planning and stuff was to go before and you know exactly what you're doing, and they often use the targeting. Is there anyone that stands out?
There's quite a few, but I really like what Patagonia are doing, because the founder, he's basically put every penny that he has now into saving the environment. So Patagonia, they're basically active wear. They do clothing, but it's all about sustainability, and they care about profit and planet. But what the founder and the owner's doing now is he's taken everything he basically has and he's putting all of that, because his mindset is, well, there's not going to be a planet left, so I want to do everything I can to protect it. And he's putting his money where his mouth is. So they're a brand that's always been about sustainable clothing. You know, if you need your jacket repairing, they'll repair it for you rather than you going and throwing it away and buying a new one. So they are proving they're putting their money where their mouth is, basically. They're not just saying that they care about the planet and sustainability, like they're actually doing it and spending millions to protect the planet. Like, that's a brand for me that is just like, wow, they're, you know, doing exactly what they're saying they're going to do, and they really resonate with me.
I understand that. I was watching a video, it was with Dennis Lewis and Chris Eubank. Both, I think at the time, were world champions. Eubank was world heavyweight champion, super world, to Dennis was heavyweight champion. And Eubank was sparring against the bag with him, and he hit the bag, and then it's like, was hit it then? And Eubank was like, oh, sorry, I hit it. It's like, no, what you need to do is you need to bring your hip in, and then it's like, Eubank goes, but I don't know how to do that. And this is like the world super middleweight heavyweight champion saying, I don't know how to do that. And then Lennox told him, he did it, and he improved straight away.
Wow.
So in terms of your kind of comment about what you said, is that acceptance of the fact that you can't do something a good thing that you can then try and work on? Or is it just say, you know what, I can't do that, and that's fine, that's a business?
Yeah, I think...
You just stuck with me now.
Yeah, that's really interesting and surprising as well. I hope he paid him for that tip. It's probably a bit late now. So I think it's about, first you've got to be aware of the stuff that you need to improve on, and that awareness will only come if you ask for feedback. So, for example, like when I work with clients, often how well they think they're doing is an assumption, and I'll say, okay, this is where you think you're at. Let me speak to your last 5 customers, and I'll ask the right questions. Let me actually find out how they found the process, how easy it was to, because we have this, you know, in our head, maybe things are going well and maybe that bit's fine, but until you have an outside perspective, it's really difficult. So I think it's about being brave enough to ask for feedback and figure out where you need to improve and give it a go. And then I think at some point, if you are really, really, really rubbish at something, like I'm really crap at maths. I know I am, I always have been. My brain just doesn't quite get it. So rather than me try and get really, really good at maths, I get someone else that's really good at maths to help me, because I've accepted the fact that I'm a bit crap at it. There's no point me trying to work on it anymore. But there's other people around me that are better, and I utilise them. And I think it's the same in business or your personal life. I think, asking for feedback, being aware, and then going, right, can I improve on this? Let's give it a go. If not, go to your tribe, or is there someone in your tribe and community that can do a better job than you can help? Thanks for the questions, everybody.
I think we should give Danielle another massive